must be the greatest. I told the world, I thought the God ever gave. The best ever.
Welcome to the DL Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Coach D, along with co-host neighborhood hero Ryan Rios and Bad Chaz, where we talk about the sport you and I love, boxing. Well, guys, welcome to episode 22. Boy, am I excited for this one, guys. How you guys feeling?
Oh, I'm great, man. How are you?
Doing well, man. Well, we got a very special guest.
Yes, we do.
Let me introduce him.
Nice.
Fighting out of the Zoom corner, weighing in at a trim and ready 115 pounds, with a professional record of 18 wins, only 1 defeat, 3 draws, and 8 big wins by way of knockout. He hails from San Antonio, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning, defending WBA Super Flyweight Champion of the world, Joshua, the Professor Franco.
What's up, brother?
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, champ? How you doing today, man?
Good. How are y'all?
Oh,
Great.
Doing great, man. Happy to have you on the DL Boxing Podcast. We appreciate you joining us and giving us your time, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Well, I held back. I wanted to call you the unified champion. You just coming off that Ioka fight, brother. I know it's been approximately a month. How you feeling since then, or what you been up to since then?
I'm feeling good. I just been just relaxing a little bit, staying in the gym here and there, and just been chilling. Just enjoying the time off while I can.
Right, and we'll touch on that fight later on, man. But let's tell our audience how did Professor Franco get into boxing, man? Take us way back there.
Well, I've always watched boxing since I was a little kid. My parents used to have all the HBO fights and stuff when I was younger, and all my family would come over and we would all watch the fights. And I just remember watching all the big fights, and my family, we would all be cheering and screaming at the TV. And ever since then, I wanted to fight, but my mom never let me go to the gym just because she was scared for me to get punched and get hurt. And then, one day, my dad took me to the gym because I had got in trouble at school one day, and my dad wanted to keep me disciplined and just keep me out of trouble. So he took me to the boxing gym, and ever since I started going, I never stopped going. I just fell in love with everything in the gym, and that's how it started.
Fantastic, man. Well, you've done really well in your career, Franco. So let's take a look at your career. You've had 23 bouts, champ. Tell us, you won your first debut fight against Tomatsin Castillo, split decision win. Tell us what you felt debuting your pro boxing career, man. What was going through your mind? How'd you feel?
I just remember a lot of nerves going through. I had a lot of butterflies just because I was making my pro debut. Even though I had fought with the headgear, without the headgear in the amateurs, I had experienced it, but I just feel like the gloves were smaller. And I just remember, my opponent being really tough, and he had a hard head. And I just remember getting tired, and even though it was only 4 rounds, I just remember getting tired just because it was a different experience. But after that, it got easier and easier after each fight.
Yeah, awesome, man. So you rack up 13 wins, champ. And then you run into Lucas Fernandez, which is your first learning lesson, right? I believe this fight was in Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
The referee, I think, stopped it a little soon for my taste. But what can you tell us from that fight, from tasting defeat for the first time?
It wasn't a good feeling. I just remember being, really down, and it was, the whole experience was pretty quick. I remember it being a flash. But yeah, I just remember being, really down, and my family, they were telling me, just keep your head up, you're going to be back, all this, telling me, just motivating me. So was Robert. Robert was just telling me that the fight should have been stopped that early. And but, everything happens for a reason. And I feel like that helped me grow, with my career.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And this is for all you young fighters, if you have a setback early in your career, it's not the end of the world, right, Franco? You're a perfect example because obviously you're world champion right now. What is something that you've learned from that defeat, or what was it that you thought that you put in your head? Okay, this is what I need to get better at.
I just put in my head that not to take any fight lightly, and to train hard for every fight. I remember for that fight, I was I wasn't training that hard and how I was supposed to. I was only, doing half of the workouts I was supposed to be doing, and I just put in my head that I need to train hard for every fight and not to take any fight lightly, because anything could happen in boxing.
100%. Lesson well learned, champ. So you bounce back with a KO win, and then you go on to face Oscar Negrete for your first trilogy. And we let our fans know that this was you went up to 118 pounds, bantamweight division, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and what can you tell us about Oscar Negrete? You guys went, toe for toe, it was tick for tack. It was an awesome fight, and you guys obviously had a trilogy. First one was a draw. Second fight, you get the nod, and then the third fight was another draw. What can you tell us about that trilogy?
I just remember all the fights being really tough. Ever since the first one, I remember the first one I went in, really nervous just because I was fighting against Oscar Negrete. He was a well-known fighter from Golden Boy Promotions as well, and they were putting us together, and I took that fight as a do or die because I feel like whoever came out of the fight, a winner was gonna move on, and the other one was gonna be back to square one, back to the bottom. So I was very nervous going to that fight, but I remember I trained very hard for that fight. And I remember the first fight being really tough, but I thought I had put out the win at the end, and I didn't. It ended up being a draw, and we fought him again. I remember that fight being tougher than the first one, and I ended up winning that one. And then the third fight, I don't remember too much from the third fight, but I do remember that I didn't train that hard for that fight either. But it's all a learning experience, and I came out with another draw with that fight, and that's another experience that kind of showed me that to train hard every fight again. I remember I had trouble making weight that fight. I struggled really bad, and that's something else that I learned not to worry about the weight last minute, to get it done with early. And overall, just like I said, to not take any fight lightly.
Right, exactly. The weight of 118 pounds, did that affect you in any way, or did you start off your career at 115, Franco, or how was your journey as far as weight?
Yeah, I debuted at 118 at bantamweight, and then my second fight was at 115, and then after that was I think 117 or something like that, and then eventually back to 115 again. Yeah,
right.
And then when I fought Negrete, that was the first time making 118 again.
Yeah.
But I remember at 118 I felt a little bit stronger. Like I had a little bit more weight on me. I could feel the difference.
Yeah, those were epic battles against that Colombian, man. Awesome, man. But
yeah.
But that wasn't your only trilogy, right, Franco? You then fought Andrew Maloney. He was the WBA super flyweight champion. He was making his first defense against you. Tell us how it felt, man. Challenging for the title, big fight. What was going through your mind, man?
I was focused for that fight. It was my first world title shot. And I remember the whole time in camp, Robert was just, pushing me and reminding me that we were going to go upset him and we were going to come out the winner. We were going to be world champions. And I remember Robert just motivating me throughout the whole camp, just reminding me that I was going to be the champion. And I was training my ass off for that fight. So going into the fight, I had nerves, but I was just really focused, and I just had a mindset that I wanted to come out on top. And that's what happened. I remember the fight being really tough. Although I feel like I dominated most of the fight. Andrew Maloney, he was, he still kept, he was a world champion, so he didn't want to lose his belt. So he fought all the way to the end. I felt like I was going to get him out of there, towards the end. But like I said, he was a world champion, and he had experience, and, he dogged it out to the end.
Yeah, that was a terrific fight and terrific performance by both of you guys. Like you said, you ended up dropping him late in that fight, and you got the nod and became world champion. How did that feel to become world champion?
It was a great feeling, man. Words can't describe how that feeling felt. At first, it didn't hit me until like a week later, but it was just a badass feeling. I couldn't believe I was a world champion. Even hugging Robert and Robert screaming at me that I was a world champion. It just didn't hit me at the moment until later on, but. It was a really good experience, especially with my parents. When I walked back to the locker room, I see my dad, and my dad was just crying and hugging me just because, we had come so far in the boxing game, and everybody's dream is to become a champion when they enter boxing. So for my family to experience that with me, it was a great feeling. I remember even my mom calling me, crying on the phone because she was over here back home, and she was just crying, so proud of me that she was like, you know, she was like, you did it. And I was like, you know, we did it together. You know, it took a lot of sacrifice, you know, to get where we are today, and it's just me and my brother. We're blessed to be where we are today.
Yeah. That was amazing accomplishment, Franco. So 5 months later, you guys have a rematch, and this is the controversial one. ESPN, they showed, you know, countless replays, and it looked, well, let me tell everybody, it ended up in a no contest, right? Your right eye, if I'm not mistaken, swole up. And
yes.
According to the replays on ESPN, they showed a punch that hit you right on the eye, like more like a thumb maybe. But the referee called it a headbutt, and since it didn't go past 4 rounds, you know, the referee called it a headbutt, and it was declared a no contest. Now looking back at it now, Franco, what do you think about that fight and the stuff that you had to deal with until your eventual third fight?
That fight was a crazy fight. It was a crazy experience. You know, for it to be stopped so early, and then, you know, for it being my first defense. But I just remember, you know, I just remember in the fight, I couldn't see anymore. I couldn't see out of my eye. I remember seeing blurry, and I remember touching my eye, and I thought I had Vaseline in my eye, and I kept rubbing it, and, you know, the blurriness wouldn't go away. And then I went to the corner, and that's when Robert said that it was a headbutt. And I was like, oh shit, I guess I got headbutted. And, you know, that, I guess that's when I forgot. I don't remember the whole thing, but, you know, Robert had told the ref it was a headbutt, and I think he was stopping the second round, I believe, or the third, or going into the third.
I believe the third round. Yeah, 4 rounds weren't completed. Yeah. And I believe that was the ref's call. So, you know, that's what he called. You know, that's what it was. So, you know, there was a little controversy. You know, I know Maloney, you know, was, you know, he was saying that, you know, it was a punch. But the following year, you guys do it again for a third time. And what can I say? You showed your masterclass and ended up beating him a third time. What can you tell us about that third fight and the motivation you had behind it?
Yeah, going into the third fight, I knew that I had to, you know, secure the win, because it was going to be the final fight, and then I was going into Top Ranks territory again. So I felt like I had no choice but to win. So I made sure that I secured the W. I felt like I could have done a little bit better, but I was just trying to secure the win and, you know, go home with the title and, you know, secure more bigger fights. And you know, so that's what I did.
Yeah, you did. You noted, you know, those combinations, those 2, 3, 4, 5 punches. You know, they're so smooth, man, and that's something that, you know, everybody should look up to. You know, as far as combination punching, man. That brings us to your last fight, which was the last fight of the year of 2022, and that was your bid to be unified super flyweight champion against Kazuto Ioka, and well, we thought that you should have been crowned the unified champion. Tough fight, but you did your thing, Franco. What are your thoughts about that fight?
Yeah, it was a tough fight against, you know, a tough competitor in Kazuto Ioka. I just remember it was a tough fight. I have been out a year, so I feel like I was a little rusty going into the fight, and, you know, even when my timing is tough in the fight, but I feel like I dominated towards the end, and, you know, I felt like I broke him down towards the end, and he couldn't keep up with me anymore. And I feel like I should have been the winner, but, you know, we were in Japan, and, you know, he had a lot of fans over there, a lot of crowd. So I respected the judge's decision, and I'm hoping to run it back with him, you know, back in Japan. I would love to go back over there and fight him over there again.
Oh, you would? You guys are willing to go back to Japan to fight Ioka
again?
Sure. So no
sure.
chance to bring him over to the States?
And I don't think they'll come over here. I know Robert told me that, you know, we're in talks of maybe having a rematch, you know, if everything goes well, or, you know, if the talks go good and stuff. So we're waiting to see what they say. If not, well, then, you know, we'll go on to something else, maybe a Strata fight or something like that.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you got some big options there. Champ, I'm going to pass it over to Bad Chaz for some questions.
Hey, what's up, Professor? How's it
What's
going,
up,
man?
bro?
Oh, good, man.
Good. How are you?
Just chilling right here in California, man.
Nice.
All right, I had a question. Going back to Coach D's questions about the 2 trilogies that you faced, and then now you just came off of this fight that, you know, looked like you were a clear winner from my perspective. But, you know, Japan's commission and my point of view, you know, they don't match up. But I was going to ask you, you know, are you concerned with this opponent turning into a trilogy as well?
I mean, it's possible. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's very possible. You never know. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't mind having another trilogy under my belt before I hang him up or something.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. How was it going over there to Japan, and like how was your experience with that commission, and it almost even looked like you had a different type of boxing gloves on too. Like what kind of changes did you face, you know, going to Japan, you know, as a fighter that were different from if you were to perform a fight here in the United States? What kind of things did you have to face?
I would say for sure the time difference. You know, even when I got used to the time change, we fought kind of early. You know, I walked out around 5 or something like that over there, so that was early. And then the most of the time change, the food was hard to get. You know, the type of diet I had to look around and stuff. But I eventually found the right foods for me to eat. You know, with my diet and stuff. And then the gloves, they were regular Everlast gloves, but they just had like a sponsor logo from the promoter or something.
Oh, okay.
But they were my Everlast gloves that I had sent over to Japan.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, I mean, I would say just basically the time change, and that's pretty much about it. That's the only thing I really felt with the time change. But even after I adjusted to that, I felt good. But
yeah,
we fought pretty early over there. It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon over there, in the evening.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm used to fighting like around like 9 or 10 usually.
Yeah. Right on, man. So you mentioned something about your diet, like what's that consist of, or like what kind of what foods do you like to eat? You know, like what processes when you're in camp or getting to a fight like that? Like what do you like to digest?
Well, I usually just eat like rice, steak, chicken, vegetables, and stuff like that. But you know, the hotel that we were at, there wasn't much around. There was only like McDonald's, and they had like sushi spots, but they weren't like specifically like the food that I needed and stuff like that. You know, especially I was cutting weight and stuff. So, yeah, I had a difficult time trying to find the right foods. But there was like a 7-Eleven next door, and they had like a lot of like junk food and snacks. I was like, shit, like I can't wait to make weight so I can come get like some candy or something.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, I'm gonna turn it over to your friend Ryan here.
Hey, what's up, champ? Hey,
what's up,
dude,
bro?
you're just a cool collective, just an all-around cool dude, man. Where does that dog come out, like in the ring, man? Because you just possess some like just this crazy tempo, man. Just these punches just come from all angles, dude. Like, where do you bring that dog out?
I feel like just when I need to, you know, just like when I'm sparring or either when I'm fighting, it's hard for me, you know, to get in that zone. But you know, once I'm in that zone, I'm locked in, and I can't, you know, I'm just locked in. I'm gonna do what I do, and that's it. But you know, mostly just like when I'm in training and doing my strength and conditioning, my sparring, and you know, when I fight, that's when I'm really locked in. But you know, other than that, I'm just chilling, and you know, I'm just doing me.
Yeah, you know what? You going with RGBA. A lot of fighters, you know, they don't start their career with, you know, the same camp and, you know, win a title with the same camp, but you have. What does it feel like to do that with RGBA?
Oh man, it was badass going into camp with Robert, and all the champions that he had. You know, he had Mikey, he had Brandon, he had Jose Ramirez, Abner Mares. You know, starting camp with them, I feel like that was like a big help for me. You know, going into the pro game, because I was watching all these guys train, and fighters that I looked up to. You know, all of them that I looked up to. I watched them when I was little. It was a big help for me, and it was motivation. You know, I wanted to, you know, show them that I train hard. I train hard too, and that I wanted to be like them too. I would spar a lot with Abner Mares and Carlos Cuadras, and
oh, nice.
You know, after a while, the sparrings, they got, you know, really competitive, and that I feel like that helped my confidence grow. And yeah, man, it was just a big help being out with world champions and training next to them. I feel like that energy, like, it rubbed off on me and all the other fighters as well.
Yeah, it did. Also, too, right now San Antonio's hot with young talent, man. It's a mecca right now of boxing. Like, how do you feel seeing your city just representing right now for that boxing community?
It's badass, bro. We're getting up there. I feel like it's been hard, in the past, for San Antonio to get recognized in boxing, even though it has, with Leija, with Robert Quiroga, and other fighters. But now we're getting up there. We have Mario Barrios, my brother Jesse Rodriguez, me. We have Daniel Cortez, Panterita, Richard Medina. There's a lot of fighters coming out of San Antonio that, if they stay focused, they can become world champions too, and they can be top fighters too.
Yeah,
and
looking forward to it.
Like you said, San Antonio is a hotbed for boxing right now.
Yeah.
Just like I said, like if they stay focused and they keep grinding, anything's possible.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
That's awesome, champ. All right, champ. Well, I got to ask you this, brother. We had a fighter on the podcast by the name of John Scrappy Ramirez, and I was looking at an article, and he called your name out, champ. Is that, if he continues on his winning ways, is that something we can maybe see for late 2023? What does the champ say?
I mean, you never know. We'll see what happens. If he keeps, stacking his wins and, gets to where he needs to be. I mean, and I'm right there too. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But if not, well, then it won't. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
Well said, champ. All right, champ. Well, we've come to the fun question segment of this interview, man. I'm going to go ahead and start this off, man. I remember as a kid reading the ring magazines, the boxing ring magazines, and there were certain articles from time to time. So I'm going to dub this the best I faced yet. All right, champ. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you categories, and you tell me which opponent that you fought already fills that category, okay? So first category, who had the best jab?
The best jab. I would say Andrew Maloney had a good jab. I think he had the best jab.
Okay. Next one, best defense.
I'm sorry?
Best defense.
Best defense? Shit. That's a hard one. Damn, I don't remember anybody having the best defense. I would have to say probably Ioka. Probably.
Good. How about the best puncher, champ?
The best puncher, I would say the guy I fought in Puerto Rico was probably the best puncher, the hardest puncher.
All right. 2 more categories, champ. Fastest feet.
Fastest feet. I would say not somebody I fought, but somebody that's far had the fastest feet. That was Abner Mades. Okay. Yeah, he had fast feet. So did Carlos Cuadras. He had fast feet too.
All right, and the last one, champ. Who's the best overall fighter you faced yet?
I would say Ioka for sure.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you, champ. Let's go on over to Bad Chaz for some fun questions.
Hey, man. What's up, man? Hey, I've been just wondering, who granted you the name Professor Franco and why?
It was Robert's old assistant trainer, Don O'Leary, in Oxnard. When I went to go meet with Robert for the first time, I remember I walked into the gym and I had some glasses on. I had like a collared shirt and like some jeans and some Sperry's, I think. And he had asked me what I was doing there in the gym. I was like, oh, I can meet with Robert. We're gonna talk about stuff. And he was all like, you're a boxer? And I was like, yeah, I'm a fighter. And he was all like, you don't look like no fighter. You look like you could be like a professor or something. And I remember everybody started laughing after that. It was like, and that shit just stuck with me after that. It was just like kind of like a joke, the professor. But I feel like as time went on, like it kind of like formed into my style and stuff like that.
Right on, man. Another question: how does it feel to get to go enjoy this great adventure and journey alongside of your brother?
Oh man, it's a badass feeling. It's like how do they say, like so real? Like it's just like I'm just going with the flow, and it's just it's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's a badass feeling, bro. We're, like I said before, we're blessed to be here, and yeah, man, we'll see how where it takes us.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you one more thing, bro. I was on your Instagram today, and I was like, looking. You don't have too many pictures right there, but I seen you put a little thing right there. It says "Grow with the flow," and I just that stuck with me all day, bro. And I just wanted to say that's pretty cool, man. Like I like that little saying right there. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to your friend Ryan now, and he can chop it up.
Badass, bro.
Thanks,
cool.
Hey, champ, what do you like to do, man? Like outside the ring, like what are some of your hobbies, man? Like when you're not in the ring, like what does the champ like to do?
Shit, I just go chill with my brother, and sometimes we'll go, eat, and we'll go chill or something, or sometimes I go for like a little walk or hike and stuff like that, or I'll hang out with my family or my dad. It just depends, but. Shit, sometimes I'm doing that. Most of the time I'm here like I'm bored, just at home, just not doing anything.
Nice.
And I remember like in the past I used to like go out a little bit and like do shit like that, but I don't do that. I don't do that anymore. I kind of like got tired of that stuff. So now I just chill here at home, and I'm enjoying, just the little things like my family and, stuff that really matters and stuff like that.
Because I'm sure, like, when you go out now, like, you're just the celebrity of San Antonio. I mean, probably anywhere you go. How does it feel like to be recognized like that? Like when you're at fights or when you're out and about, man, like, how does it feel to have that status now?
I mean, it's a good feeling. It's cool. I enjoy when people, they recognize me and stuff. I'm like, oh shit, like that's pretty badass. I'll take a picture and stuff. And yeah, man, it's a good feeling. But yeah, man, it's good.
Right on.
All right, champ. Well, we are very happy to have you on the DL Boxing Podcast. We look forward to your future, champ. It looks bright. You've just been getting better and better with every fight. Is there any last words that you'd like to tell your fans?
Thank you guys for the support. Keep supporting me. Stay tuned for, some news coming. And thank you guys for having me again. Maybe we could do it again whenever you guys want. Just let me know and I'll come back on. But thank you guys for your time, for your patience, and we'll talk soon. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, champ. You have a good night.
Sure, bro. You too. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Right on, champ. Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Well, it's fight recap time. All right, guys. It's time to recap the DAZN fight that happened last weekend. We saw Liam Beefy Smith stop Chris Eubank Jr. in the 4th round, and boy, did we get this one wrong, right, guys?
Yeah. Unexpected.
Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, what could you say about that, man?
Man, it just seemed like Eubank was a different fighter, man. He had a different strategy, and that was like to keep his hands low and kind of like, play with Liam Smith. But Liam Smith wasn't playing, man. He went after it, man, and he hit Eubank with some shots, dude, that there was no way he was coming back, man. And much credit to Liam Smith because he went in there to fight, not play around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Liam Smith was the sound boxer, and I think what I underestimated from him was his experience. His sound boxing, the experience going against fighters such as, Canelo, stopping fighters such as Vargas. And, he's been on the winning track. Yeah. And I don't know, but with Eubank, I don't know if I was thinking more of his dad or what was going on. But I think Chris Eubank Jr. did have the speed advantage, the size advantage, and I thought he was going to outbox him, outslick him. But boy, were we wrong, Bad Chaz. What was your thoughts about that fight?
Like you said, man, I thought Eubank was going to outbox him. Like I thought he was going to be a little more slick in the ring, but I mean, it was the complete opposite. And I mean, it was a simple solve if you look at it. He just had his hands down like way too long and too often throughout that fight. Whether his back was up against the corner or he was in the middle of the ring, his hands were down, just leaving him exposed to shots, and his chin was up. Right. Whereas Liam Smith, he just was tight, compact, chin down, go forward and just deliver, and just stick to that game plan. And I mean, wow, I mean, he looked beefy.
Yeah, he surely beat down Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
A little bit of the flack that Chris Eubank Jr. got and his trainer Roy Jones Jr. was that when watching the fight down and you kind of saw glimpses of him trying to imitate Roy Jones Jr. But you can't do that, man. Right, There's only one Roy Jones Jr. and only Roy could do Roy, right? Do you think that was a factor in the fight?
Yeah, man. He just looked careless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Liam looked like he was dialed in, and he looked angry, man. He was fighting with some passion, and I just felt like he was trying to mimic Jones, and it just didn't work out to his favor. It was not not something that I would ever try again if I were him, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Bad Chaz?
You know what? I'm just kind of wondering what was said in the corner, you know, from Roy Jones. If he was ever like telling him like to make an adjustment or to bring his hands up, like that's not working for you, you know, like you should see these things in between the rounds, like where you can kind of make adjustments to where you can kind of go a little further than 4 rounds. I would say, you know what I mean? I think that depending on what he was being coached, you know, that could have had an influence on, you know, if it would have went longer.
Probably, and I don't think it was, because in the first, as the rounds go, you know, it's eventually gonna catch up, and sure enough, big right hand caught, lack of experience, or you know, just trying to show Smith that he's not hurt, which is you know, you don't do, you know, you take your time if you're still conscious, but he rose really quick. The referee, you know, gave him the standing 8 count. Junior still wanted to fight on Bambi legs. You know, now I think the referee did the right job.
I think so,
or the
too.
correct to stop the fight. He was correct in that,
Because it was still in the middle of the round. If it was like towards the end, I mean, maybe he could have let him, you know, a standing 8 count or something and let him recover. But it was still in the middle of the round, and there's no way he was going to recover that fast.
Yeah.
There's a rematch clause in the contract.
Oh, no way.
And I think Chris Eubank Jr. has, he on social media says, you know, I'll see you again. In the rematch, are we going to get it right this time?
I mean, I hope.
I don't know. What do you think, neighborhood hero? Ryan
It'll
Rios?
be a different fight. I think he'll probably go to a different trainer, and I think he'll have a better game plan for sure. You know what I mean? And he's definitely going to be dropping his hands like that.
Do you guys think he has the boxing ability?
I think he does.
I mean,
I
he's
think so.
athletic, right? He's athletic to play the boxer. You know
Stay
what I'm
away
saying?
from the ropes,
But
you know?
does he have the experience, the knowledge, the grit, the heart to execute the game plan for 12 rounds? What do you think?
Hard to say, you know. And I mean, I think that he kind of leaned towards Roy Jones, thinking that he was going to be his savior and the answer to his success.
Right. In other words, was he exposed in that sense?
I mean, I think so, by going to Roy Jones and kind of like taking those. I mean, we seen what looked like he was just trying to do exactly what Roy Jones did. And based on and just watching, you know, camps and stuff with him and Roy Jones and what Jones is showing him in his training and stuff, and then to go see him actually performing in a fight. It doesn't work for him, and I don't think that, you know, you get these big names that become coaches doesn't mean they're going to be good coaches because they were good fighters.
Right. Yeah.
I think that you know, he might want to shop around a little bit, you know what I mean, and come up with something that's going to be a little more defensive.
Yeah, definitely learn your fundamentals. You know, work on that, right? The jab, you know, defense. You know, and still use your size and speed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only adjustment that I think that would help him in a rematch, but I don't think it'll fare well for Eubank Jr. in the rematch. I think that's, you know, that's going to be in the back of his mind, and I think Liam Smith will repeat, man. What do you think, man? Or you said that.
Yeah, but you know what? Also, he has that momentum. He has that confidence, Liam Smith. So I mean, that's a dangerous, you know, tool to have too. You know what I mean? When you have that psyche, you know, it's. I'm
just being optimistic. I guess.
And I would like to see it. Honestly, I would like to see that fight again. I'd like.
They proved us wrong the first time,
right? Yeah. Well, congratulations to Liam Smith. Job well done, man.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, it's fight week. All right, guys. Let's preview the fights that'll happen this weekend. Let's first start with the DAZN card. The main event will be Alexis Rocha. He was first scheduled to fight Anthony Young, but now this week, as of this week, he has a late replacement in George Ashie. Late replacements, neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, is that dangerous?
Yeah, it's always dangerous, man. You don't know who you're getting, you know, and he has a decent record too, and he has some power. So yeah, I'd be very careful. You know what I mean? I would take a few rounds to figure him out, and don't get careless the first few rounds, you know, because Alexis Rocha, he's a come forward fighter. You know what I mean? And he has dog in him, but I mean, he doesn't know much about his opponent. So I would kind of like the first 3-4 rounds, kind of, you know, test him out a little bit before you go in there guns blazing. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm smelling an upset.
Really?
Ooh.
I don't know. I mean, you always look at these fights that Golden Boy promotes and you know, locks in and gets for their fighters and stuff, and they're always making the safe bets, keeping the fights in house, keeping the titles in house. You know, and this is a perfect example. A Golden Boy fighter fighting Anthony Young. Anthony Young gone. Got to fill in last minute. Ashie, George Ashie.
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of excited to watch this fight now because it's going to be a different
You
level
never
of
know.
opposition that he got served.
Yeah. Well, good point, Bad Chaz. Absolutely. So check that fight out on DAZN, guys. All right, guys, moving on to the big bout that weekend on ESPN Plus. We have unified light heavyweight champion Artur Beterbiev, 18-0, all 18 wins by knockout. He will take on the contender Anthony Yarde, who has a record of 23 wins, only 2 defeats, 22 of those 23 wins by knockout. So both of these guys have power, guys.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, what's your take on this?
Yeah, right now I just think I don't really see a whole lot of people competing with Beterbiev. He just has a motor on him, you know what I mean? And he's just like a rock, you know what I mean? And you know what? I just think he's going to win. I think he'll probably even stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I learned my lesson from last week, asking you if Liam Smith had a shot, right? Everybody has a shot. You were right.
Yeah.
Everybody has a shot. And I'm not going to dismiss Yarde as bad as I did Liam Smith last week. Although he did lose his bid for the WBO light heavyweight championship belt against Sergey Kovalev 4 years ago. He was stopped in the fight that he was winning. He just ran out of gas, and Kovalev's power just, it was too much for him. Overwhelmed him. Yeah, absolutely. His other loss was a points loss, but since then he's racked up, some victories, to earn this shot at the title.
Okay.
What do you think, Yarde? What do you think he's going to?
I mean, of course, he has the chance. You know what I mean? If he can time right, you know what I mean, and play the game smart, you know what I mean, and don't go in there and take any chances, and don't give this guy any opportunities to conquer on. But I mean, have you watched Beterbiev train? Like his wrist and his hands and his fingers, like where he's bouncing off of his hands, like a normal person does off of their feet. Like he uses, and this guy's gonna go in there and deliver on you. I mean, I don't know if age is going to be a factor. I don't want to say age is going to be a factor. I mean, they both got great experience. Beterbiev is the one with the titles.
Yeah, well, Beterbiev is 38.
Yeah. So I mean, if he's going to do something, he needs to do it now. He needs to move. He needs to move fast. Yeah. And I think that he's realizing that. And hopefully Beterbiev wins, and then I want to see him fight Bivol.
Yeah, that's what we all want to see. Exactly.
That means if Beterbiev does win this fight and fights Bivol, that would be for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world, which is just another exciting fight. Yeah. And I think they will get that done. Not like some other fights that just just is not happening. Beterbiev, I think, will get it done. He will stop Yarde again, in my opinion, probably 9th round. Later in the fight. What's your prediction? Neighborhood hero Ryan Wheels?
Yeah, I want to say he'll stop him like 8-9 rounds. You know what I mean? And I want him to see. I want to see him fight Bivol.
Yeah, okay.
I'm already looking past this guy.
Yeah,
right. Bad Chaz, your prediction?
You know what? I'm kind of leaning towards Beterbiev. Yeah. But like I said, anything can happen. But I'm rooting for the Beterbiev. What about you?
Yeah. Like I said, I think Beterbiev will stop him. But I won't be shocked if Yarde wins. Yeah. But Beterbiev has, the more experienced champion. He's beaten better opposition. And so that should equate to a victory. Okay. All right, guys, that's this Saturday night. Don't miss it, guys. All right, guys. Well, it's time to talk about the current events in the world of boxing. All right, guys. Well, according to the current events, we have Anthony Joshua returning to the ring against Jermaine Franklin, proposed for April 1st. Anthony Joshua hasn't won a fight since 2020, neighborhood hero Ryan Reels. The opponent's dangerous.
Yeah, he is.
What can you tell us about Franklin?
You know what? I thought Franklin won his last fight. He had fought Dillian White, and I thought he won, right. But they ended up giving it to White. But it was a close fight.
It was a close fight.
But I'm thinking Joshua, he has a new trainer. I'm optimistic. I like Joshua, but if he gets caught with a solid punch, I mean, God, it might be a rough night for him. So I want to see Joshua win. I want to see him look impressive, and I'd like to see him fight these bigger names. But again, this is a dangerous fight for him. So it's a good fight. I'm looking forward to it, and I really can't call this one. I'm thinking Joshua by decision maybe, but I don't count Franklin out, honestly.
Right. Yeah, we would favor Joshua because of the experience. He is a 2-time former heavyweight champion of the world. Bad Chaz. Franklin, man, this is a big opportunity for him. He has to come in sharp, ready, and to give it his all, right? What do you think, man?
You know what? Franklin, I just think that he's going to come in probably a little more mentally balanced or just... It just seems like Joshua just hasn't been his normal self,
right? Since that loss to Ruiz,
and that's identified, against the boxing community, and especially opponents in the same division as you. They're gonna dial in on your weaknesses, and I feel like Joshua's already exposed that. So I don't think him going to any other trainer is going to be the answer to this problem.
Right, because they're rumored that Derek James and Anthony Joshua will, start camp together for this fight. Maybe it hasn't been officially stated, but go ahead.
So I'm just kind of thinking Franklin's is going to go in there and get the decision or get the nod or and just kind of defeat Joshua. I mean, I don't know. It's happened from time to time. We didn't expect it with Ruiz and Joshua.
Right. And that would probably put the nail in the coffin in Joshua's career as far as a top fighter. Wouldn't you say that neighborhood here, Ryan Rios?
Yeah,
if Franklin pulls off that, what would be considered an upset.
I think he's going to be one of the guys to get a top dog next. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude. I mean, if he wins, dude, his stock's definitely going to rise, man.
Yeah. So a lot's on the line for Joshua. Coming off 2 defeats to Usyk. I mean, he can't afford to lose 3 times in a row, right? Yeah. So hopefully that fight gets made on April 1st. All right, guys. In other news, Tszyu, who is getting ready to challenge undisputed champion Jermell Charlo. Jermell, obviously, he got hurt, hurting his hand, so he had to withdraw from the fight. Tszyu gets a replacement in Tony Harrison, scheduled for March 12th out in Australia. Yeah. Shout out to Brother Tom there. Bad Chaz, what do you think about that fight, man? Is it a good stay busy fight for Tszyu?
Oh man, poor Tszyu. He's been training since when? and he was down in LA, right?
Ten Gym. Yep.
And I mean, I see the guy, online, and he's putting in all this work, and he's just getting excited and looking forward to his fight, and then the injury occurs, and then now we're aiming towards March for an opponent for him to fight, and I mean he's hungry, he's ready, he's been waiting and stuff. As far as his opponent, Tony Harrison, I'm not really familiar with them, what his activity level's like. But I can tell you Tim's been working.
This is a good fight for Tszyu, right? To to show everybody that he is worthy of challenging Jermell Charlo. For those that don't know, Tony Harrison actually has a victory over Jermell Charlo. It was a little controversial. He ended up losing the rematch to Charlo, but what kind of shot does Tony Harrison have in this fight?
You know what? I think he's dangerous.
He's
dangerous,
what I mean? Yeah.
And you talk about Tszyu, having to put all that training in, and I just hope he didn't overtrain.
Yeah, that's
what I mean. Because a lot of times, like these fighters, don't always go in 100%, and this guy did 2 camps. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I definitely think Tszyu has a shot, but again, this might be a 50-50 fight. Because Charlo was definitely the favorite in that first fight, and then Harrison beat Charlo. So I mean, dude, this is another good fight.
Good fight, yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, and the last bit of news, we have Juggernaut Joyce. Let me say that right. He is scheduled to fight Zhilei Zhang, the Chinese heavyweight. On April 15th, guys. Zhang, I believe, is still undefeated. He had that draw with Hervik, right? Okay. I believe he's still undefeated. 2 giants going at it, man. Yeah. It should be fun to watch. Neighborhood Hero Ryan Rios, what's your take on that fight, man?
You know what I think? Joyce is just that good, man. I think he knocks out Zhang. And I want to say Zhang's in his 40s, right?
Yeah.
So he might not have a lot of gas left in the tank, man. And I think Joyce is just, he has a lot of momentum, dude. I think he's at his prime right now. Yeah. And I think he stops at undefeated fighter, man. And he just keeps raising that stock, too.
Yeah. Are you excited about this fight, Bad Chad?
Oh, you know what? Heck yeah, man. I mean, I'm not... I think the last fight I watched Joe Joyce, we were like, yeah, that guy has crazy bone density and stuff. So that's what he's known for
Joe
now.
Parker. He knocked out Joseph Parker.
So I'm I'm just like, well, I want to watch his next fight. And I mean, I've watched Zhang before and stuff. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to come down to, who conditioned the best for this fight, because I've seen Zhang get kind of tired in the later rounds. He's just pooped.
Yeah, everything points to Joyce getting a spectacular knockout mid to late rounds. So I can't wait to watch it, man. Yeah. It should be a fun one. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our podcast, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. It was fun for us. Anybody we want to shout out this week, guys?
You got anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, Professor Franco. He sent me this cool gear, dude. Just a cool dude. Yeah. Thank you for coming on, man. Much appreciated, Franco.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, man. Bad Chaz?
Oh, you know what? Just San Antonio, RBGA, those guys have been just huge supporters. Right. just a great community and a great group of people. You know what I mean? As far as I just started watching them as a fan, watching them fight and stuff,
Right.
and then you get to meet them, and they're just these down to earth dudes, and they've been just more than helpful and willing to participate in our podcast. And I just want to say thank you, and we look forward to a bright future with you guys and what you guys got to bring to the table, man. You guys are bad.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. And last but not least, I want to thank you, the fans. Thank you for your support. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It'll help our channel grow. Like, share. We would greatly appreciate that, guys. Also, shout out to sound guy Rob, cameraman Liam. Thank you guys so much for your help. And with that said, I am Coach D, along with neighborhood hero Ryan Rios and Bad Chaz. And we're out, guys.